And so I'm going to light my candle. Holy water, sacred flame, Bridget, we invoke your name. Bless my hands, my head, my heart, source of healing, song and art. There you go, Nancy. Just go ahead and unmute, and we'll welcome our new friends. We'll just keep trying.
Okay, I got am I unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, I know I have no vision at all, but I am unmuted. Okay. Welcome everyone to a new semester. And I know we're going to have new people, although I actually can't see you at this moment. So please do unmute yourselves and introduce yourselves and tell us your name and where you're from.
Iris, did you want to say hi?
I'm Iris, and I live in Reno, Nevada, and I'm originally from Switzerland.
Welcome. Any other new folks joining us this semester?
I mean, I'm not new, but I'm going to turn off it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I just
That's
thought,
okay.
I thought that you wanted everybody to tell who they are, so I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we are recording. Let's see. It doesn't say we are, but yeah, well, hopefully we are.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
This is Gloria in California, in Northern California, Mendocino County. I got up early so I could milk 2 cows and feed the chickens and the pigs before I joined you, and I'm so delighted.
Wonderful.
So glad you're with us, Gloria.
Thank you.
Great.
Well, good morning. I'm Jerome from Baja, Mexico, and not new, but yeah. And I did not milk a cow. It's been a couple decades since I milked cows in Switzerland, actually. Yeah.
Good. Any other new folks joining us today? Yeah, we're going to really, continue to develop our friendships here in our little boxes. We're going to, just think about this as a little point within this huge periphery. So over our time together, that's part of our work, is to get to know each other and to create friendships and, relationships. So I want to, just really think about this time of year. That's kind of what our job is. We're really working with this cycle of the season as this path of initiation. And I know for those of us, in the the temperate climates, it's easy to forget at this time of year when the skies are steel gray and the ice crystals bite, that stirring in the cold winds is the spark of spring, waiting to be ignited by the passion of our purpose. But can you feel the energy of the earth? Something's shifting, isn't it? Something's quickening. I really feel it like this sort of groaning. It's a groaning and a stretching in the earth of our body. Maybe, Gloria, you're feeling it on your land there, right? This feeling of like a snake, trying to shed its skin, yearning to peel off all those layers of winter clothes in response to the rising sap. So one of the traditions that we have with our group is we like to tune into this calendar of the soul, these 52 verses that Rudolf Steiner gave us that really bring this mood of the cosmic and earthly energies into our soul forces. It awakens what's already there. So throughout the time, I'd really like everybody to take the courage to one-time volunteer to say, I'm going to read the verse this week, so that we can all have a chance to have our voice be heard and speak these wonderful verses. So who wants to be the one to lead us for today? It's up on the screen here for you to read.
I will.
Great, thank you. We can't hear you. Who is that volunteered?
Oh,
Leah.
me, Leah. I don't know what happened. It muted again. Shall I start at the beginning?
Yes, please.
Sorry. In winter's depths is kindled true spirit life with glowing warmth. It gives to world appearance through forces of the heart the power to be grown strong. The human soul defies with inner fire the coldness of the world.
Yeah, that's our work. It really does bring us to where we are in this time of the year. And we actually are holding on this verse for a couple weeks now, because of the way that the calendar always works with the first day, which is Easter. So that changes. It's a movable feast every year. So yeah, next week we'll be on verse 43. But here we are at this cross quarter betwixt the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So this is really, really just a really powerful time, a festival time. It's called by some Candlemas, right? By others, Groundhog's Day, and still others, Bridget's Day. This triple goddess of Imbolc, which is the name of a Celtic festival that means in the belly. It's the lambing season, after all. And it's the time of year when the belly of the Great Mother quickens with the growing light. It's a time to purify and to call back our dormant power, to heat up our potential and to reseed our creativity as we add fuel to the fire of our community. Right? That's what we're doing here. So this time of year, it's really about the promise of spring. We don't see it manifesting yet. We have to have trust and faith. As we step out of this dark half of the year, we are preparing for growth and renewal. And we can perform the ancient rituals of spring cleaning, right? Purifying and awakening the active spirit within. So from ancient times to now, it is a time of spiritual rededication, of self-blessing, and traditionally a time of initiation, of affirming and energizing creative work. We gotta come out of the cave, right? It's a time to bless the seeds and consecrate the garden tools, right? We're not quite using them yet. We're sharpening them, we're oiling them up, so that we can really start to see this creativity and plan for the fruits that we want to grow, really making us fertile ground for this promise of spring. And we're standing a few days in on the waxing side of the new moon in the lunar new year of the water tiger. That's pretty exciting. And I always like to say that everybody has a little bit of Irish in them. So we can all celebrate the Feast of Bridget. Now her name means bride or exalted one. And before she was a saint, she was this Celtic triple goddess portraying the powerful archetypes of the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And she's called the goddess of healing, poetry, and smithcraft. She's especially connected to herb lore and the purification through water. So many healing wells and springs are named after her. And poetry, right? This fire in the head. and to be a smithy is to be able to channel the elemental forces into our will, right? Mastering and channeling the fires of passion into a smithcraft. So she's one of my favorites. She really embodies this alchemical marriage of fire and water to bring birth to the healing powers of regeneration and transformation. And legend has it that she was born at sunrise while her mother was walking across a threshold. So she was neither within nor without. This idea of the threshold, right? It's this state of liminality. And this is a Latin word for threshold. This state of being in between space and time. It's where the magic happens. Right? This is a time of magic. I don't know if you can feel it. You know, my mother, Betty May, she was Irish. And when we were growing up, we used to put cake or, buttered bread and milk outside the door because Bridget and her cow were said to walk through the neighborhoods. So we lived in the suburbs of Chicago, so I'm not sure how much Bridget was walking around our neighborhood, but we did it. And my gran used to remind us to leave a red silk ribbon on the doorknob for Bridget to bless. And then that would be used for healing purposes. So, whenever you fall down and skin a knee or something, somebody would yell, "Go get the red ribbon, go get the red ribbon, go get Bridget's ribbon." And then we'd wrap it around the boo-boo, and of course it was all better. So that's a good tradition to start. And back when my daughter was a wee girl, our little Waldorf community had a tradition where we would, meet during this magical time, and we gather with our daughters to honor and explore the power of this triple goddess within ourselves through storytelling and crafting these Bridget's crosses. Right? If we had a bunch of time and some nice reeds, then we could make this really special Celtic knot, which represents this fiery sun wheel. So yeah, it's about kindling a fire, and sharing a meal, and sometimes we would go on a scavenger hunt in the woods. But like I said, in olden times, the mystery schools held elaborate purification rites in preparation for a yearly rededication and initiation to help them achieve their highest spiritual goals. Then, time goes on, everything changes, things shift. Bridget's Day became equated with Candlemas, this Christian holy day, which is 40 days after Christmas. Magic number, right? We know it as the feast of the purification of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And yeah, many occult traditions recognize this time period of 40 days as holding a powerful mystery. Yeah, it was a Jewish tradition to go to the temple 40 days after birth to make an offering and to purify yourself after childbirth. And the name Candlemas comes from the fact that the churches have this ceremony where they bless the candles, they make new candles to be used in the new year. And in the Hebrew tradition, Tu B'Shvat is celebrated at this cross-quarter time. So we'll get to that at the new moon of February. February actually means tool of purification. So yeah, at this cross-quarter time, we are celebrating the new year for the trees. So we can sing happy birthday to the trees because this is when the sap starts to rise. And the Kabbalists, they use this archetype of the tree. You can see this tree of life, this metaphor to really understand the relationship between the spiritual and the physical worlds. And you can see on the bottom there that, spiritual science tells us that the human being is a reversed plant. So as we start to come closer into the springtime, we'll talk more about that imagination from Rudolf Steiner. But in the 16th century, the Kabbalists compiled this Tu B'Shvat Seder, sort of, very similar to the Seder for Passover. And it involves enjoying the fruits and nuts of trees and discusses the philosophical and Kabbalistic concepts, like the idea that by eating with the highest intention, we can repair the fall. Like the sin against the tree of knowledge, that Adam and Eve ate the fruit before it was ripe. Right? So what is it about this waiting? This waiting that transforms knowledge from hurtful to helpful and healthy. And then how can we have faith that the spring will come and that everything will grow and ripen in its season? So this kind of contemplation is that, we have to eat. We eat every day. Can we do it with a prayer? Can we make it an opportunity to participate in a healing so deep and intrinsic that it reaches all the way back into the Garden of Eden? So this festival asks, stuff like, am I getting the spiritual food that I need to live with grace? Am I part of a strong community, providing warmth and nurturing shelter, like a tree does? And the tree metaphor is something that we really worked with a lot last semester. And then this idea of the tree as a legacy to the future, right? Looking to the future generations, knowing, well, am I providing them with the proper foundations for their lives? So I wanted to throw in this popular Chinese proverb that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time is now. So this means that if we want success and growth in the future, the best time to act is now. It's very special now. So we're going to take this question into our breakout groups, and we're going to think about, okay, what seeds do you want to plant in 2022? Maybe they're real seeds. Maybe you can start to think about, planting your garden, but maybe it's a spiritual seed, right? Something that you want to see grow, something that you will put your attention on this year. What are the spiritual seeds that you want to plant, that you want to see grow in the new year? So that's our topic. And so, let's go into the breakout groups, and we'll have about hopefully 3 in the group, and we'll take about 3 minutes each, and we'll be back in about 10. Does that make sense? And then we'll be able to check in with each other and share.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll see you there.
Okay.
Welcome back, friends. Yes.
I thought that was Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Yeah.
It's the same day, right? That's
Oh,
October,
welcome.
right?
October 10th.
Okay.
Welcome back, everybody, from your breakout groups. I hope that you had a successful planting. And maybe we could just go around and this way we can say our name, where we're from, just to get to know each other again. And maybe you want to say a couple words of your experience, but to make sure, if there's enough time for everybody to speak. How's that sound?
Lovely. Lovely.
You want to go first, Nancy?
Sure. Nancy Melvin. I'm here in Chicago with Hazel, so it's cold out there. And the spiritual seeds I'm planting are quite warm and they're busting to start growing. And it's been a big surprise for me that all I had to do was sort of sit back, look at the other side of things that I'd been holding a little tightly. And all of a sudden, what I needed to find out was bursting into life in front of me.
Yeah, that happens when we pay attention.
Yeah, yeah.
Who wants to share next?
Jerome, you're muted.
Jerome Coker, thank you. Jerome Coker, I live in Baja, Mexico, an hour south of San Diego. And this year, I really want to focus on nature and observing plants and the transitions within plants and their signatures between their different stages.
That's a beautiful meditation. Thank you. We'll want a book report. Who else?
I'll go ahead and go, if that's okay. Michael Alberts from Albuquerque, New Mexico, with the backdrop of Tintagel, Cornwall. Hazel would recognize this view, very special view. My seed planting this year is engaging with the etheric world and practicing eurythmy on a regular basis, and homeopathy as well. Thank you.
Potent combination. Sound like an alchemist that you are. Thank you, Michael. Who else?
I can say something. I'm from Tucson, Arizona, but I'm staying at my parents' house, which is another 90 miles south. So I'm just 10 miles from the Mexican border. So I have that in common with, being on the edge of the US. And I am writing a book. It's about it's what Rudolf Steiner said, from conception to I consciousness. I'm calling it conception to consciousness, even though there's consciousness before I consciousness. And I'm just hoping it hits fertile soil. Doing my best.
So exciting. Yeah, keep us posted. Thank you. Yeah, this is the beautiful thing about sharing. We can all, add our energies to everybody's projects, right? Carolyn, did you want to go?
Yes, the seeds in here is an art exhibit that we tried last year spontaneously, and it was so successful. We had the theme of art heals, and in my little neighborhood of 40 people, 9 artists came together, and we had such a good time that we decided we have to do it again. So we're planting the seeds to sprout that even more this year where possible, and people are really painting to get ready for it. So that's my little energy taker right now.
Thank you. I can't wait I hope you share. Let us know when it's.
I hope we can too.
Carolyn D. How about you?
Okay. Yeah, the image that is powerful for me right now is the sap that comes out of my grapes when I prune them at this time of year, and the feeling of, the energy coming back up into the world. And I'm trying to understand the etheric realm, and they asked the 9 subtle bodies better. And I'm doing a lot of different things. I think part of it is I'm pruning and trying to figure out which streams of what I'm trying to do I can really sustain, and which ones are just really lovely, but I can't manage all that. It's too much. So that's kind of where I am right now. And then kind of pruning, and then hopefully the seeds there's a lot of seeds already in the ground. I've got to figure out which ones to focus on.
Yeah, that idea of discernment, and then, adding to the compost pile, that's important.
Yeah.
Good. Who's next?
I can go next, I guess, because it's kind of similar. I'm in a transition downsizing, and which I thought would be over by now, but it seems to go on. And so much stuff is, so many directions I'm pulled in, and so much stuff that I'm just trying to weed it out so that I have fertile ground for my women's project that I'd like to plant new seeds. And so I'm kind of in the middle of that. Like we're in the middle of winter, I guess, coming to spring. So it feels, maybe it feels similar in that sense, that on the cusp of something.
Yes, exactly. That cross quarter has a lot of edge to it, doesn't it?
Yes.
That's a great segue into my situation of decluttering, because I have so much stuff. You can see a lot of it hanging on the walls. And so the hope is that when I put it up there, I really loved it, but it's I have to clean and I have to go around it and manage it. And so from a practical standpoint, what can I let go of?
Mhm.
And seeing this in the outer, it's affected my habit life, working on proper nourishment, feeding my family properly. And with these groups online, these Zoom groups, it's such a support to do that, because you're with people who are on the same path, different levels, everybody on a different level, but we're all going along, at our pace, whatever we're ready for. And it's so wonderful to be welcomed in like that. And working on my spiritual development and keeping that going, not giving up the ship halfway through. Like, well, I don't see any difference. Just keeping steady, one foot after another. And I think what's helped that is the pandemic, and also what I see in the world, that I have to pay attention to what's going on, but I don't see any other course other than to develop myself. That's it. There's, I can't be a Democrat or a Republican. I have to develop myself. And so I can't join these clubs out here. So it's up to me to take the bull by the horns and work on myself. And then that'll open opportunities. I'll be invited. I will be drawn to things that will be healthy for me and for the world ultimately. So that's my goal. And I'm so thankful to be with you all.
Times you have to let go and let come, right?
Yeah.
Lala, you had your hand up?
Yes. I'm just wondering, how could one bring together the experience of changing of seasons and all these human festivities along with the changes in the cosmos? Because I'm sure as something is changing here, up there, there's also many changes. So how can one experience both or bring both together?
Yeah, the cosmic and the earthly. We have all these signs in the heavens that can be a guide for us. Yeah, the cross quarter actually is based on a cosmic alignment. It's 15 degrees. The sun goes 15 degrees into Capricorn. So that means something. You can think about what are the attributes of Capricorn. And Steiner speaks about it as the sign of initiation. And of course, Mercury and Venus have just become morning stars, and so a lot of stuff's going on with that. And the moon is waxing. It's such a wonderful conversation to be had. So thank you for bringing that up.
And I'm sure the hierarchies also have something to do with it.
They are. That's the spiritual beings we're dealing with. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who else haven't we heard from yet?
And for those of you who plant according to the moon, isn't the newly waxing new moon a perfect time to plant seeds that sprout quickly? Because the waxing moon will get stronger and stronger in the night, and that will pull the shoot out of the earth. I think that's my understanding.
So it's a good time to be planting these metaphorical seeds as well then. Which I found myself rather astonished in landing in a group of 5 individuals rather than 3, and finding that each of the seeds that my compatriots wish to plant are also seeds I wish to plant, which made me go, there's so much to plant. So gratefully, routinely, I'm planting intentions for this bee sanctuary and relocation and reinvigorating a home-based business that has to do with health and spirit. And I've just undertaken very formal study of the foundation stone meditation and study groups and advanced training in beekeeping and so many things. And so it's, I think that the only answer that came to me about what to plant was really getting solid in the rhythms and the constancy of my spiritual pursuits. I can be easily distractible, and there's no longer time for that.
Amen.
This is Gloria here. I'm literally, as I said in our group, planning our garden this year, and which is a little bit of a challenge for me because I'm doing it somewhat alone, but with friends, since my husband always did it, and he's no longer with us, and I'm figuring out how I'm going to do it and going forward with that, along with doing eurythmy and taking care of my animals and really working very strongly with my community of Waldorf schools, CSA members, and Chadwick, former Alan Chadwick students, and figuring out also how to communicate with my husband. And that's a big part of my journey right now.
Beautiful. Yeah, he's working with you from the other side, so I'm sure you'll get all the help you need from all these places. Thank you.
I'm Kathy in Eugene, Oregon, where the sun is shining brightly at the moment. And I can resonate with all the trying to find what's after one let goes of things, both in my study or in my house or in my garden, and what's important to focus on. So I'm still in that process right now, but I'm hoping to stir some 500 pretty soon.
For me, it's similar. I'm Iris. Like I said, I'm in Reno, Nevada. What Kathy said, I'm planning the garden right now, like the
especially the flowers of what I want to plant and what colors and where. And it, I didn't think about the spiritual part you mentioned, Hazel, the spiritual seeds. And so I think I'm still in this moment of figuring out where do I want to put my focus in the spiritual. What do I want to study? What do I want to understand?
Ask and you shall receive.
Excuse me?
Ask and you shall receive.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Well, we're getting low on time here. Is anybody else that hasn't spoken yet want to jump in before we bring Nancy on to put us into our hands?
I'll talk really quickly. One of the things that came from our group that solidified something for me is that this is a time for me to notice those seeds of intention that are warming, but really they're being shown to me. It's like as I've moved out of epiphany into making that, rather than a diffused experience, a more concrete focus. That's what I'm feeling is the warming. It's like having the faith for that. This is that time for faith, but that level of allowing that magic. That I loved how you said that, Hazel, to bring that forward. And so in a way, I don't know the seed as clearly as I could. It's being revealed to me, and I'm holding space for that.
Right in tune. Perfect. Yeah. I don't think Diana has spoken yet. Did you want to say a few words?
I'm actually pruning, getting rid of the weeds, digging into the soil, and seeing what's there, seeing the worms that are both good worms and not good worms. And rejoicing in the presences that I'm finding, because there's so much beauty that easily gets overlooked. And I've noticed that through the pandemic, I have distracted myself from being depressed by distracting myself and allowing myself to be more present, that I don't need the distractions. They're a good tool to have on hand, but you can't use a hammer all the time. And you can't use a screwdriver all the time. You have to put them down.
Where are you calling in from, Diana?
I'm in Massachusetts by New Hampshire border.
Yes. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for doing that work. You and Jerome probably have stuff to talk about. Well, thank you so much. It's just so wonderful to be together with you, and I can see this vision starting to coalesce, and it's beautiful. It's pulsing. It's pulsing with an inner life. And yeah, I hope we can continue to support each other as we move closer into the light. How are we going to do that, Nancy?
Well, this is a tool you will need. If you can lay your hands on a piece of paper and a pair of scissors. We're gonna take up our desk tools and work on something. Work on a seed. We're gonna make a seed. We're gonna cut a seed. So I'll give you a moment to find your tools. Let me see if I can see if everybody's. Okay, I'll go forward then. If you don't have scissors, you can always rip it. But I suggest not using the whole paper. Seeds are not that large, but cut yourself something. Mine is probably about the size of an avocado bit. It doesn't have to be round. Seeds are not all round, but roundish or oblate. Full, in other words. And what do seeds do this time of year? I mean, in Chicago, they're tucked under the snow in the ground, but in your warmer regions, they are starting to sprout. And what's the first thing a seed does? Well, we're just going to come from the outer edge, start small and get a little bigger. And we'll notice that if you cut kind of as a spiral, don't separate it, because this is the first thing a seed does. It puts down a root. It looks for the earth and the depths of the earth through, people think, understanding gravity. And if you go around your curvy shape, the root shape, it's curved, but we want it to descend. So how do we do that? We just bend the paper. Bend the paper. So your radical, it's the name of the first root, is the radical. Isn't that a beautiful thing? And just maybe you have to bend the root again. And maybe you have to bend the root again. The radical takes a spiral. And we know from molecular biology that the root shape of all growth is a spiral. There you go. There you go. Now, what's the next thing the seed does? Well, it's swelling with the spring rains. And then you take another little snip. Let's take another little snip. And the seed set pushes forth something that looks and reaches for the light. Like in that beautiful Loudon poem, What is so rare as a day in June. A force within it reaches and towers, and groping blindly for the light, rises to soul in leaves and flowers. So at the top of your little sprout, make a little snip and bend them, and you'll have your two prototypical leaves that the sprout forms. And it rises to the light. And you'll notice your seed is greatly diminished. It's given itself to its journey down and its journey up. And you have in your hand a shape which is both echoing the pattern of all growth in the spiral, reaching down into the earth for gravity as its guide, reaching up to the light with the warmth and light from above as its guide. How does it do that? Most people will say we don't really know, but the seed knows it's time. There we go. There we go. And something just, yes, exactly. And something, just a little footnote for people who are interested in the rise of humanity across the globe. There's a beautiful book called Oak, The Frame of Civilization, in which William Logan compares the oak tree and its growth pattern across the entire world with where people live. And they're absolutely synonymous. And his theory is that people have populated the earth by moving oak trees with them, or have gone into areas where the oak lived, because the oak gives them acorn meal for flour or boiled seeds. And then what else does the tree give you? Well, it frames civilization. That's his theory. A wonderful book on the beauty of the relationship between the human race and the oak tree.
Beautiful. And maybe you want to encourage folks to take up another study of their favorite tree as we move along.
Thank you, Hazel. I was just forgetting to do that. So let's go back to what we were doing the first semester. Those of you who had a tree, just gaze at it for a little while. It could be 2-3 minutes a day, of course, across the week. Gaze at it, find a tree and just take it into your vision, live with it, and watch what it's doing this time of year. And if you want a different tree than you had last semester, that's fine too. One can, I'm right now have shifted my gaze to my lilac, which is in front. And even though it's 10 degrees and we have 8 inches of snow outside, there are buds swelling on this lilac, really lovely big buds. So find something to look at that's living like that for you. And we'll bring that into next week.
Jerome wants to know the name of the oak book.
It's called Oak, the Frame of Civilization. And it's by William Logan. It's in paperback, it's available.
Beautiful.
It's a profound.
Let's all hold up our seed and we'll say fare thee well until next week. And yeah, we're meeting at 9:30 and we do have a few minutes before we have to jump on to 6B. So if anybody wants to stay and stay for a couple seconds and talk for a minute, we'll stay for a few minutes just so we can have a soft landing. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Really appreciate this group. Thank you.
What a beautiful gesture on your seed. Lovely.
Yeah, we'll put the recordings up on the Padlet, and Kathy was so helpful to put it in the chat there if you don't have that link.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Do you have the link for the 6 exercises thing? Is that something that's available as part of this?
Yes, yes.